during the day, but you go out here and make a right when you get up to the light and do.
Thank you, amigo.
You don't want to stand along the wall here, so I don't shine anybody in the face, or I'll have this family. You don't want to stand along the wall in here.
Okay. Hold me tight too.
Did y'all travel from very far? Land above was leased to the state of Maryland in order to mine for limestone, which is this blue-gray rock we see over here.
Okay.
Where these gashes are taken out of the rock is where a couple commission workers were drilling into the rock face outside and kept losing their drill bits. So they decided to try a different spot, which was right here, and they were successful in drilling this hole. They could even feel a cold breeze blowing back out into their faces. So they decided to move down about 6 more feet, lay down a stick of dynamite, and they opened up the original cave entrance that way. This is the original cave entrance you just stepped through. We just added stairs for your convenience. And then over, 18th by a group of 20 men. They were equipped with shovels and buckets and kerosene lanterns in order to see, and they were told to clear as many rooms as they could. At the time it ended up being 3 rooms. They had about 4 to 6 feet of clay to clear out of each of those rooms. On the ceiling here we have what are called stalactites hanging down. We remember them because they hold tight to the ceiling. Stalactites, they're formed when water seeps down through the limestone and comes in contact with these white calcium veins like this one over here. The water and calcite mixture will drip down. These might eventually reach the ceiling. As they become connected to the stalactites, they'll form a column. We'll see much more impressive columns on the tour down here. As we move down these stairs, watch your footing as it's a little slick from the gravel, so hold on to that handrail for me.
Slippery.
A little bit, yep. As we go under this lighting fixture, the ceiling drops down on the right side quite a bit, so just watch your head and your shoulder as you go around that turn into that hallway. And with that, please follow me. We will be going to the Crystal Palace next. This area is called the Crystal Palace. There's a salamander right there. You see him?
Crystal Palace.
Salamander.
Oh, yes, a little bit.
Salamander.
It's small.
I like to say he works here. This hole here is where one of our cave electricians will crawl through here just to get up to that light bulb to change it when it burns out. Calcite, and it's got some reddish tones to it from iron oxide. And then right here is the star of the room. This is the Crystal Palace. The Crystal Palace is a flow formation, so it's basically a water calcite waterfall that solidified over time, and then it's kind of glittery because the calcite will crystallize over time, and then it's called 6-sided calcite because it's hexagonal in shape, so it glimmers no matter which way you shine a light at it. And then you'll see where the walls go from being really smooth to kind of rough like this. This is because this is where the clay came up to when they were excavating the cave. They would have been standing on top of the clay line, a lot higher, closer to the ceiling than we are today. If y'all will follow me back here, we'll be going into Fantasyland next. If anybody wants to stand in front of me, feel free to. We use our imagination a lot in Fantasyland. We have the Ice King back here. He's covered in six-sided calcite. That's why he's so glimmery. He's sitting on a throne and he's got his arm kind of perched up on the throne and he's wearing a crown. We say that he's covered in ice because he had to go to Antarctica to get his friend a penguin here. She's looking straight up towards the ceiling, towards these all-natural ruffled potato chips that she'd really like to have with her dinner, but because she's a penguin and she can't jump or fly, she'll have to come over here and ask the bunny for help. These are her tufty ears and her fluffy tail. We say the rest of her is taking a nap under the clay because she already had half a carrot for dinner, so she might not be in too big a hurry to help with the potato chips on the ceiling. And then here we have the mummy. This is her head, and she's got arms on either side. We say the mummy protects everybody who enters the cave.
Wow.
Y'all follow me this way to the next room. I'll show you some of the plant growth we've had here in the cave. Y'all to stand along the wall right here. In this room, there's a couple things that are not natural to the cave, but they're natural and quite ordinary on the surface. The first thing is this string up here. This string is actually the root to a honeysuckle bush. It fought through about 50 feet of limestone to hang out right there, so we let it hang out and stay there even though it's no longer connected to the bush on the surface. And then the other thing, once I point it out, you'll notice it in other areas in the cave as well. It's this green stuff. There's another big patch of it on that shelf up there. The green stuff is algae. Algae started forming down here when people started coming down here as we track pollen on our clothes and our shoes and in our hair, and when we walk around, the pollen is shaken loose. So when people started coming into the cave, pollen was left behind, and then we installed artificial lighting, and of course it's always been very humid down here, so it creates a habitable environment for the algae to grow. And the only way we can slow it down at this point is to keep it dark. So when we close up for the day after this tour, we'll turn off all the lights down here. And that's the only way we can slow down the growth of the algae at this point. Here we have another imaginative...
Is this natural? This side, is it natural?
Yeah. Yeah, all this is natural. That was broken at one point. Of course, the red lighting is artificial.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the growths you see are naturally formed in the cave. This cave actually has more formations per square foot than any other cave in the United States that's open commercially. Here we have our mother dragon formation. She's got big sharp teeth and her mouth is open, and she's got an eye here and a stalagmite for a horn. We say that she's a mother dragon because she's protecting all her little babies underneath here. These are all young stalactites that are called soda straws at this point in their life stage. It takes about 150 years to grow 1 cubic inch. So that's why we don't have any light shining under here. And we try to, obviously no touching, and we try to keep the vibrations to a minimum to give them the best chance that they have to grow. You all follow me this way and we'll see the Tri-State Passage next. This is the Tri-State Passage down this way. This is the most newly excavated part of the cave. It was cleared out in between 2009 and 2014 by a group of volunteers at the Tri-State Grotto Association. They dedicated nothing but their time over those 5 years to clear out 60,000 5-gallon buckets worth of clay from this space. We say it's like an unofficial emergency exit, but we've never had to use it for that. It was actually cleared out in order to use it as a flood control system. When it rains a lot on the surface, it will start to rain down here as well. And they installed a water pump back there, so that way they can pump the water back out to the surface if it starts to flood in here. Some of the formations we see in this room up on the wall here and behind y'all on the wall up there. are popcorn formations. They're called that because they look like popcorn kernels. They're also called coralloids, is their scientific name. They're called that because they're structurally similar to the skeletons of coral in the ocean. But they're called popcorn formations as well because they look like little popcorns. And then behind us in the back of the room here, we have Harry the turtle. Harry gets to eat good every night because he gets to have cave popcorn for dinner, as well as cave bacon. This is one of the best examples of cave bacon on the tour. And cave bacon gets its reddish hue from the iron oxide that runs through it. Alrighty, y'all. When y'all are ready, follow me this way. We'll go to the high spot next. You want to stand right in this corner, sir. Right there's great. And if y'all want to stand right over here. Perfect. And we're going to be looking at the ceiling in this spot. So can you see all the way up in here? This is about 55 feet above us, and in these dark crevices in the ceiling is about 105 feet above us. This is the deepest point in the cave, and the reason that is because we're actually standing under a hillside here. I will point that hillside out once we're back on the surface. In between the roof of the cave in the 105-foot spot and the top of the ground outside, the limestone is only 5 feet thick. Despite that, they had actually built an amusement park on top of this hill. It stayed there for 28 years in between the 20s and the 50s. And nobody got hurt, there were no cave-ins, but something that I like to think about perhaps happening is somebody running around with a soda in their hand, say it was a Coca-Cola, had food dye in it, and they spill their drink. The liquid would seep through the limestone like any other liquid, but the food dye in the drink would have actually had an impact on the color of the formations in this part of the cave. If you see any funky colors, maybe that's why. Back here in this room is the most impressive column on the tour. We can tell it's a column because it goes from floor to ceiling, and it's sparkly because it's covered in that six-sided calcite. This column has been dated to be around 180 million years old.
Wow.
80 million.
To the left of that room, this formation here, we call this the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We say it's the original. You don't have to go all the way to Italy to see the real one because we have the original right here in Boonsboro, Maryland. And then way up, about halfway up the wall, we have our cave octopus. Or cave squid. Nature's artwork. And then back around here we have our stack of elephants. Alrighty, y'all, and I will squeeze it back in front of you. Excuse me. And y'all follow me this way. If you look up where this blue light is shining, you'll see the blue bed of nails up on the ceiling. In this pink lit area over here is called the chapel. If you step in there and look up, it resembles a steeple. We actually had two couples get married in this very small space in the 1980s.
Let's take a shot of photo.
They were only allowed to have 4 wedding guests in that small space.
So beautiful.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? All the stalactites coming down from the ceiling. Behind me is the lake room. We do have to go past another cave friend to get back there. He's a very big stalactite. In the center of our path, he's called Andre the Giant. We believe he's dead now. He's no longer growing. As the excavators were moving around back there, they weren't able to avoid touching him. So the silver lining to that tragic story is we all get to touch him now. He's the only thing in the cave we're allowed to touch, but make sure you give him a little pet as we go past. Just try not to shove him, as he's cracked at the top and we don't want anybody taking him home in their pocket today. So please follow me back here. I'll show you around the lake room and show you the Snowcat Mountain as well. And don't forget to duck.
I'm getting a drop of water here because I see great things.
Don't forget to duck as we come back here as well. This is Andre.
I see it.
And then if y'all want to step into the center of the room here so you get a good view of the snow-capped mountains.
It's beautiful here. Wow.
The snow-capped mountain here in the center of the room is called a rimstone formation. It's named that because of all the little bowls or rims that's around it. The rimstone formation was formed when the stalactites above dripped down onto it, and they're filled with sodium carbonate when they're young. So as they dripped down onto this formation, the decarbonation eroded all those little bowls all around the formation. And then underneath the snow-capped mountain, we have Sawtooth Formation, which formed when the droplets went down the side of this formation and solidified in place. And now they look like teeth. And then we have this blemish right in the center of the snow-capped mountain. This is where somebody, we believe in the 1980s, touched the formation, rested his hand right on it there. So now we use this as an example of what happens when we touch the formations. The oils in our hands cause the water to just roll off of it after it's been contaminated. Very sad.
It looks beautiful.
It still looks gorgeous. It's my favorite formation in here, hands down. It's covered in six-sided calcite. It's very pretty. Y'all follow me back here and you'll see the reflection pool. This is the reflection pool. It's only 3 inches deep at its deepest point, but it does reflect the ceiling above. This is where our salamanders will come to lay their eggs around Halloween time. So it's actually a very pure pool of water. The salamanders will only live where the ecosystem is considered perfect. So we pride ourselves on that. We used to use this as a wishing well in like the 1950s, but we ask that people do not throw change in it anymore as it deters the salamanders from returning. I'm going to squeeze past you, and then if y'all want to follow me this way, we'll do the loop around this room. And then we're gonna go out the same way we came in here, and then we're gonna make a right once we get back outside. I'll kind of direct everybody and do some lighting adjustments, and then I'll join you in the blanket room. Don't forget to duck as we go out of here. If you just head right down that way, you'll see the room opens up into a biggest room in the cave is down here. I'll just turn this off and don't trip over that rock right there, but follow me this way. This is the blanket room. These are blanket formations. They're the biggest formations on the tour. The longest one here is 37 feet, and they are 450 million years old.
How do you tell how old they are?
They've been carbon dated. So there's actually a pretty good example right back here of what carbon dating looks like. You see where there's like perfect circles? That's carbon dating. So they'll take a stamp out of the rock and then take it to a lab where they can figure out approximately how old something that's that old. It becomes kind of approximate. But yeah, that's how they figured it out. And then we say that's how old the cave is, if anybody ever asks, is about 450 million.
Don't worry.
Would you ladies like a picture under the blanket formations together? He caused somebody to go to the hospital for 12 stitches. So don't let it be you today, please. Not on my tour. I've only worked here for 2 weeks. I think this happened like a couple years ago. Yeah, the manager can tell you more about it. But anyway, duck as you go through here. Since we're a small group, I'll point out Dwayne for everybody. Yeah, with that, follow me this way. We'll go, oh wait, I'm so sorry. Hang tight here for 1 second. I forgot to turn the lights on. I'm running low on caffeine. Sweet. Alrighty, y'all. Let's make our escape before they lock us in. Let's go this way. This is Dwayne. Dwayne.
That's it.
That's him. And now we're gonna go this way. Here. This exit passage was built in between 1934 and 1936. It was actually hand chiseled out of the wall at the time, so the walls in here are okay to touch. They're just limestone and concrete. We believe that this was put here as a timestamp. It's an old Maryland license plate. The original one is in the gift shop if you're curious. And since we have such a small group, if you all look up here at the ceiling, you'll see what's called fool's gold or pyrite is sparkling up there. We like to say it's stars. We all are lucky to be a small group. Usually if it's like 5 or more people, I'm like, nope.
Can you yes, please? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's gold?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fool's gold. It's called pyrite.
Wow.
It is quite worthless compared to gold. But it's still very pretty. And as we make our way out of here, I'll show you where the old exit used to be. So where that opening is, the reason it's there is because the original exit was a spiral staircase. It was made of metal, so it rusted within about 15 years, and that's why they built this instead. So I'll show you where that spiral staircase led out up here, and I'll show you the hillside that we were standing under.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. That triangular hole in the wall is where the spiral staircase used to let out. So people would come out of the cave. Yep, people would come out of the cave right there, and they would come across to these limestone steps, and they would go up there to the amusement park that was up there. This is the hillside that we were standing under when we were in the high spot. When I say the ceiling is we're in the deepest part of the cave, that's because we were under this hillside. And then if they didn't want to go to the amusement park, of course they could come back down these stairs and go about their day. If y'all want to follow me up to the map area, I will take any questions you may have come up with and show you the path that we took through the cave today. Follow me. The entire length of the cave is about a mile long. We took about a third of it today. We started here in the history room. We went down the concrete steps through this passage here to the Crystal Palace where I pointed out the salamander. And then we did the loop through Fantasyland. We came into this room here where I talked about the plant growths, the root, and the algae. And then we came across this passage here past the Tri-State Passage. Then we took a left, and this is where we were standing in the high spot underneath that hillside. Then we continued down past the chapel, took a right into the lake room here, and we did the loop-de-loop around there, came out the same way we went in, kept going down. These are those blanket formations. And then we zigzagged our way out to end right over there. This map here was made using ground-penetrating sonar, which is very similar to how whales communicate or how bats find their prey with echolocation. It's a vibration that is sent out, and when that vibration hits something solid, it's able to send a perfect picture back of what it hit. Here we have an illustration of how thick the limestone is in the blanket room, the last room we were in, versus how thin the limestone is in the high spot, where that amusement park was sitting on top of for almost 30 years. Do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, so do people go in the other spots, or is it just the part that we take?
This is a picture of somebody in the bacon rind room.
Oh.
You can see he is in full caving gear, and his head is pretty close to the ceiling. He's standing on a bunch of clay. These rooms are not possible to excavate because they require either like tight crawl spaces, like you have to crawl on your chest for about 200 feet, or rappelling.